What's up, y'all? Welcome back to the Lowdown. Got a great show for you tonight. But before we get into that, if you've had an encounter that you'd like to share or you'd like to be a guest on the show, you can send me an email at thelowdownpodcast411@gmail.com. If you like the content, subscribe on YouTube, hit that notification bell, follow on your favorite podcast platform, like, share, comment, leave a review, all that good stuff. It really helps the show.
Welcome to the Lowdown.
Well, tonight on the Lowdown, I'm speaking with Jason Monk from Papa Squatch Productions. When Jason was 16 years old, he fell asleep in his tree stand while hunting in southern Alabama. But when he woke up, he was face to face with Bigfoot. Let's get into it.
I hear this thing crashing through the trees, and it got closer and closer and closer, and then all of a sudden everything just went quiet, like I was being watched.
Hey, what's up, Jason? How's it going, brother?
Jared, what's happening, brother? How you been?
Man, I've been good, man. I've been good. I've been keeping up with you guys on Facebook and YouTube and everything, man. Y'all got some good stuff going on.
I appreciate it. We're trying. We're just, trying to get into it more serious and do it more often rather than just be a hobby on the side, just want to do a lot more research, field research especially, just like being out in the woods like a lot of us do, Tired of the everyday technology cage that we're stuck in.
I know exactly what you mean, man. That's me too. I'm trying to get out there as much as I can and just stay in the field and just try to, cause I mean that's when we're gonna come up with something. You ain't gonna come up with something sitting at home, man. So yeah.
No, not at all.
Yeah. Yeah, man.
And you hear people, they need that one piece of evidence, just the one piece of footage that could help them, but you're not going to find it unless you get out and look for it.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, you got to, because I mean, you think about it, the majority of the people that have these encounters, they're not looking for it. They're just out there in the environment all the time, whether it's hunters, hikers, campers, whatever the case may be. They're just out there in the environment and that encounter comes finding them. So if we're going to be out there doing research and investigation, then we got to get out there and in the environment, just spend time out there and, try to find that evidence and, and then of course wait for those, magical moments to happen.
That's right.
Well, man, I appreciate you coming on. Like I said, for all the listeners, Jason and I got hooked up at a recent, expedition with Stacy Brown Jr. up in North Florida. If you're not familiar with Stacy Brown Jr., he's got a YouTube channel. He's got a Bigfoot show called the Bigfoot Underground. Y'all ought to really check him out. Excellent dude, really is. And so that's how me and Jason got hooked up. We were on that expedition together, had some pretty cool experiences, that weekend, and we'll get into that a little bit later. But, Jason, what I want you to do is just kind of start at the beginning with your encounter and how you got started going down this, Bigfoot rabbit hole. And just walk us through it with as much, detail as you can.
Well, started December of 94, just before I turned 17. I was hunting. It was after football season. Had just started hunting again with my stepdad and my uncle. And the couple weeks leading up to what I had happened. Is that noise too loud for you?
No, you're good, man.
Okay. I'm sorry. I'm out in my shed and somebody's got a lawnmower going.
Oh yeah, no, you're good.
Um, anyway, leading up to the encounter I had, we started seeing tracks. I saw a couple footprints. Whenever I asked my stepdad and my uncle about it, they dismissed it. It was just somebody walking around barefoot. People wasn't supposed to be there was out there. So kept on. We were hearing noises, hear blows, grunts, stuff like that. Usually on the way in the mornings or out in the evening. It sounded like a deer, like when a deer would blow at you.
Mm-hmm.
But it had a deeper, like more bass to it. So we found 2 deer. The worst one we found was tore apart. It wasn't cut up, and it didn't look like teeth had ripped it apart. The skin looked ripped. Legs were twisted, like they were trying to twist to break them off. All the organs, the insides were gone, but it was just mauled, messed up. And I'm sorry. I'm trying to concentrate, and these neighbors.
Yeah, you're good, man.
So I didn't realize that at the time whenever I got into studying Bigfoot a lot more, because I had no knowledge, and it was 94. We really didn't know anything back then other than what we had read. Harry and the Hendersons was out. We watched it, loved the movie, and
Yep.
National Geographics and magazines, books, newspaper art, stuff like that's what I read. And most of those made Bigfoot out to be a monster, And if you look back on some of the things I see now in the stories of people who had encounters, I could recognize things from then, because whenever I first started to go in there to hunt with my stepdad and uncle, my tree stand was disconnected from the tree. It was ripped out of the tree and laid down. We were poor. They were carpenters by trade, so we built our own ladder stands out of 2x4s and plywood.
Uh-huh.
Mine, whenever I went in there to go start hunting with them that season, it was after football season was over with. It's when I usually started again. My stand was on the ground. It was ripped out of the tree, laying on the ground, had nowhere to sit. So I wandered around and noticed that there was a holly tree leaned over onto this huge white oak tree. Mm-hmm. And I thought, hey, this is a perfect canopy. It's a natural blind. I go up underneath those holly limbs and sit against the tree, and hey, it's just a blind. It's perfect. But looking back now, as your stories of Bigfoot and Sasquatch ripping, ladder stands out of a tree, hunting stands out of trees, and messing up stuff like that. And the lean-tos that you see in tree structures that you recognize put together now. I could have been sitting in his tree structure. I killed 2 deer out of it before I had the encounter with him.
That's what I was just thinking. You were probably sitting in his structure.
And looking back on it, it's like perfectly, it makes sense. Just to me, it makes sense. I sat in his spot and killed deer out of his spot, and now he's pissed at me. But after all that took place, and we found the dead deer and all that, and again, it was dismissed and laughed about, that it could be anything other than there's just a person down there. It's not supposed to be there. One day, I was sitting in the tree stand, fell asleep. It was a good nap, just swaying a little bit, went to sleep. I heard a loud crack or a snap. It was either a limb or a reed. Just, and snapped awake whenever I woke up about 40, 50 yards in front of me. was Bigfoot. About between 7 and 10 foot tall. I can't definitely say the height. I just know he's very tall.
Yeah.
He's broad, kind of V'd, dark, very dark in color, like a dirty, muddy oak tree.
Mm.
You know, like it's nasty. I didn't notice a smell, but everything that happened so quick is just, I was more frightened and scared to death. So whenever I looked at him and he was looking at me, it scared the crap out of me. So the first thing I did, I picked my gun up. I saw brown. I shot center mass. That was the only one I aimed with the first shot. You know, I aimed center mass and pulled the trigger, and the other ones I just cycled and repeated until I couldn't fire anymore.
Pray and spray, huh?
and that was it. Pray and spray. And whenever I was done, you know, I threw the gun in my lap and covered my ears because he started howling and started screaming the loudest, most horrible howl. And I told, I mentioned another person had mentioned what they described the howl as, and it's like it had two sets of vocal cords, like screaming at the same time, and that's what I thought, because I always described it as a mix between a banshee and a dinosaur. You know, there was a high pitched squeal, but there was a roar in it.
Right.
And that's the best way I could describe it. It sounded like two sets of vocal cords screaming at the same time.
Okay.
So as the screaming subsided, he was gone. I noticed he had ran, when I'm facing him, he ran to my left, which was running toward the river.
Mm-hmm.
I waited a while, got down. It's about 10 minutes later, my stepdad, my uncle, came out and wanted to see what I had shot. And I told him what happened, and he just laughed. Mm-hmm. And showed him the prints. We found spots of blood. I don't know if they thought I had shot the person that wasn't supposed to be there, but they absolutely would not believe I shot a Bigfoot.
Yeah, yeah.
So
let me ask you.
Go ahead.
So yeah, just to interrupt just for a second. So then what did they think about the prints and the other things that y'all had found?
The prints they thought was just somebody who wasn't supposed to be there. They thought it was a very large person hunting on our lease that wasn't supposed to be there. And the dead deer that was ripped and torn up was a cat, a large cat, or a large predator.
Okay.
In which I know we had large cats around there, but that's not what I shot.
You would know the difference between a large cat and something else.
Yeah. We followed it all the way to the river. Between a step here or there we would see, or the drops of blood we would find, and we would just, in the general direction, followed it to the river. Footprints went into the river, and then didn't see them anymore. So, and we recently got permission. We're going to go back down in there this summer. There's probably a couple weekends we might spend the night down in there, do a little camping, and see what all's going on. See if we can find anything else.
Okay, so since that happened, had you been back to that area since then, or?
I went hunting. I went back in there hunting 2 times after that, but I've not been in there since I was 17. I've not been in there since 1995.
Wow. So, all right. So, how did that whole encounter make you feel overall? Was it after? I mean, were you scared to go back in there? Were you scared to go out in the woods in general?
Terrified. Absolutely terrified. especially in that area. Cause I grew up in South Alabama, you know, in a very rural area. It's dirt road in the middle of the night. That's all we did, you know,
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
ride dirt roads and running through the woods and peanut fields and cotton fields, you know, that was what we did. But it's just nighttime activity changed a lot after that.
I bet. I bet. Now, I don't remember. Forgive me. Maybe you did say this. Where was this at again?
I was in a town called Sampson. It was south of Sampson, right on the Florida line, right there at the Pea
Out.
River.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay. All right. All right. So you said this thing when you opened your eyes, you kind of heard it. You kind of heard it coming through the woods, right? And then you open your eyes, and when you open your eyes, it was already standing there in front of you.
Yeah, it was in front of me. And it's like I didn't have to look for it. When I opened my eyes, I saw it. It was there and it saw me.
Wow. And when you opened your eyes, how long before you opened your eyes and you saw it till you took that first shot, you think?
It's just a couple of seconds, but in a moment like that, it feels like forever. But I'm sure it was probably about 4 or 5 seconds.
Wow. And did you have any idea at the time? I mean, obviously, based on what you're saying, you knew it wasn't human, but were you able
Right.
to process it at all as to what you were seeing?
No. It's after it run off and I got down and they got to me. I just shoot I shot a freaking Bigfoot. You know, I was
And that
just,
told them, right? You told them you shot a Bigfoot?
yeah, I told them,
Okay.
did not believe me. They thought
Wow.
that I asked them, I was like, did you not hear it howl? Did you not hear it screaming after I shot it? They thought I was yelling for them because I had killed something.
But now, how far away were they from where you were?
They would drop me off since I was the youngest. I would come in, I was like at the trailhead and then they would go probably a quarter of a mile each way behind me when they would split to their stands.
Okay. All right. Interesting. Interesting. So I find it interesting because the way you described the way that it yelled at you and the sound that it made, I don't see how anybody could have heard that sound and thought it was a 16, 17-year-old kid screaming.
Exactly. Especially
Wow.
me. I didn't have the deepest voice to begin with.
Wow, man. And you said you didn't, the whole time you didn't smell anything as
Yeah,
far
I
as like,
didn't.
right.
A lot of reports, almost any reports I get, it's or see or hear, read, is there's the smell, the horrible smell that's with them. I didn't have a
Yeah.
smell. I didn't. None of it smelled.
Yeah, that's interesting because I know you hear about the smell a lot, but then there's also some reports that I talked to a guy a couple days ago. He said the same thing. He didn't smell anything either. Um, and I wonder if it's some sort of defense mechanism, maybe, or maybe it has something to do with mating or something like that. Because you do have some
Hmm.
reports people don't smell anything. You know?
That's what I was wondering too. If it was just a musk, just
Yeah.
pheromones.
Hmm. Yeah.
And there's only a certain time when they're released.
Yeah. Yeah. All right. So after that initial encounter, you shoot at it. Your stepfather, your uncle comes out. Y'all follow the tracks a little bit down to
Hmm.
the river. You lose the trail. Um,
Right.
what happens after that? Do you talk about it to anybody else?
No, it was never mentioned. I have asked people in the family and they said it was never mentioned. And anytime I mentioned it to them, it was just a chuckle and it
Yeah.
was ignored.
Hmm.
So I
Now,
don't,
how did how did that make you feel?
horrible. I felt horrible about it because I don't know. It's hard to describe, but I felt horrible in a way that I almost betrayed that they didn't believe me. You know, that's what felt worse, that they did not believe what I saw and what I did. That's what honestly it hurt the worst. But
Yeah. Now,
I don't know.
now, because of the response that you got from other people, did that cause you to question if you really saw what you think you saw, or were you adamant, I saw Bigfoot and I shot a Bigfoot?
I was adamant. It made me question whether or not I should tell people.
Sure. Yeah.
But I I kept it all away. I locked it up. Just quit talking about it. And honestly, right after it happened, that following semester at school, I had actually wrote about it in a paper for my English Lit class. And I told my teacher what it actually happened. You know, she dismissed it as well.
Yeah.
So it's just, I got used to the laughter and ridicule, so I quit telling people. And then I actually saw one of Merkel's podcasts with Stacey Brown on it. And I was like, hey, I had just realized he lived so close to me. That's why I reached out to him. And actually, he helped a lot with me being able to tell the story. So,
yeah,
being able to tell it to him, and I was like, man, I could do this because I know it's real. I know for a fact that it's real. And there are other people besides me that know for a fact that it's real. So there's nothing stopping me other than financial responsibility of going out and finding him. So that's what I'm doing. We decided I'm going to get a lot more serious about doing it.
Yeah, me and you both, brother. That the financial hurdles are the and I tell you, it doesn't really cost a whole lot of money. The place that I go into and I camp and everything and do my investigation, it doesn't cost anything to go out there, but it's all the money that you put into buying and stuff like that. And it adds up for sure.
Getting started is the worst part. But like you said, finding state parks where you can go camp for free. You know, hit the Florida Trail somewhere, get back in the woods and the swamps.
Yeah, man. And now for some reason, a lot of the state parks, actually, I think all of the state parks in Florida, and I'm specifically the state parks, have this new rule now where you're not allowed to leave your campsite after dark.
Yeah, imagine that.
And and that happened to us. We were out at Hillsborough River State Park about 6 months ago, and we left our campsite at around 10 o'clock, 10:30, something like that. And we went out on trails doing what we normally do anytime we go out. And we got down by one of the park rangers, told us you're not allowed to leave your campsite after dark.
Really?
And and we were like, why is that? And we're like, well, it's for your own safety. And I'm like, okay. I mean, I don't know, man. It's just, it's weird. It's strange to me how all of a sudden they come up with this new rule that you're not allowed to leave your campsite.
Right. So, right here around the time of disclosure too.
Exactly. And we've got activity seems to be really amping up a little bit too. So
a lot.
Yeah. All right. So moving on beyond that, you went years of not really talking about it with anybody. And then you came across, the confessionals, and Stacey Brown was on the confessionals with Tony talking about his footage that he got with his dad and everything at Torreya. And, so is that kind of, and you said you reached out to Stacey at that point. Is that kind of when you first started looking into this deeper?
It is. I had been following, you know, like a lot of people watching all the shows that come on, anything that come on about it. Finding Bigfoot, Monster Quest, any any show that's out there that if they throw Bigfoot on it, I'm watching it.
Yeah.
So it started with all that, but then when I reached out to Stacy and started talking to him about it and realized that the community, that's when I realized the community around here is like, there's a lot more people than you realize.
Mm-hmm.
And that, it just makes it more comfortable because there's more people like you,
Yeah.
like more people like me, like we want, and a lot of us, it's just a matter of wanting answers. I know what I
Mm-hmm.
saw. I know what happened. I want to know what it was.
Yeah.
Where did it come from?
Yep.
So that's why I started getting into it a lot deeper.
Yeah. Yeah. Cool. So, yeah, so that's kind of the same kind of thing happened to me. I had seen his footage some years back. Didn't realize, I mean, at the time I was kind of in that same position where I was interested in the topic. I believe that, I believe that most likely there's, these creatures are out there. And but I wasn't like fully invested in it. I enjoyed watching the shows. I enjoyed thinking about it. I enjoyed talking about it, being out in the woods and stuff like that. Um, and then same thing. I saw him on Tony's show, that same episode. And, shortly after that is when I started watching his channel on YouTube, and, I reached out to him as well. And it was right around the time where he was, kind of putting together this expedition, getting ready to go on this expedition that we went on. And, so, so yeah, that's kind of how I got in touch with him as well. And, so let's talk about that expedition a little bit. We, basically, for all the listeners, we, went on an expedition up in North Florida, back at the end of March. We went up to the Osceola Wildlife Management Area and went up there with Stacy Brown, and there was a group of us up there, and we basically camped out for the weekend. We went out during the day, did some day hikes. And how many ticks did you end up finding on you that first couple of days?
Dude, I'm still suffering from that. I pulled 103 off of me.
Yeah, they were bad.
I actually had 9 that embedded. That
Yeah.
I was struggling with sickness the past few weeks from it.
Were you? Wow.
Yeah, I got the antibiotic early enough that I should be safe from anything. It's just I got like flu symptoms and stuff like that.
Yeah, I actually came home, and a couple of days after coming home, I found one. And it was like, how did I miss it? But it was like right up in the pit
Yep.
of your backside of my leg, where
Oh.
in the joint where your knee and everything. And so I guess I just missed it right in there. And, I pulled it out, and, I honestly, I was kind of paranoid for a few days. I never sick or anything like that, but I was paranoid, man. And and so far I haven't had any issues, but, yeah, man, I don't know, man. Those ticks were so bad out there. Of course, we were in the thick of it too. So
Yeah, there was so many. And I had one. I got home, I stripped, got a shower and everything was clean. I went to work the next day, came home, and when I got home to get a shower, I had another one on me.
yeah.
So it was crazy, but yeah, we had a great time.
Yeah,
That,
man. Tell us about that, because, that second day that we were out there, the first day we were out, we were, kind of going around through the swamps and everything, crossed the river a couple of times, and we found some pretty cool tracks. And then later that night, did that brutal hike where a few of us ended up hiking about twice as far, kind of getting turned around back in there. But that second day, we had found that trackway in the grass, and then
Yep.
me and Logan kind of went off, and we crossed the river, and we went out to check out this little island out there. And when we
Right.
met back up with you guys, when we met back up with y'all were at that tree break. Explain that tree break for us.
That was crazy. I've never seen one like that, and I've researched it since then, and there's been a few found around the country, and quite a few in southern France, actually.
Really?
But yeah, so it was almost a perfect equilateral triangle.
Mm-hmm.
So one tree was broken toward the other, and so on in a perfect triangle. And it was 133 inches by 133 inches by 134 inches from tree
That's
to
wild.
tree to tree. And one of them was, when it was broken and leaned over, it was kind of woven into the other one. So
Yeah.
that was crazy. That was, and one, cypress tree knee, like
Yeah.
right in the middle,
Mm-hmm.
which was, which was crazy again, because that was 67 by 67 by 87 from the corners.
Yeah.
It was too symmetrical just to be a coincidence to me.
Yeah. Right. Yeah, I thought the same thing because we walked up and y'all were measuring and like, what's going on here? And then once we realized what was going on, I was like, this is crazy. And there was no tracks. The tracks just There was no tracks coming in or out around
Oh,
this triangle at any other point. It was just at one point.
yep. The trail of tracks had led up to the triangle, but then they were gone.
Wow.
Didn't
That
come
makes
out of it.
Yeah, that makes my mind all the thoughts of, portals and all kind of weird stuff, you know what I mean?
That's the very first thing I thought of, and I'm glad I'm not the only one that thought of it.
Oh no. And it's crazy because I mean the I think you had mentioned once before, did you ever look into any ley lines?
I did. And that brings up another interesting point, is after that happened during the day when we went out that night, the stuff that we got, but that entire area, there's a ley line that runs through that area, straight across and through just north of St. Augustine.
Wow. Interesting.
So
Wow.
that being magnetically charged area the way it is made that night's discovery even better.
Yeah, so let's get into that. So that night we drove from where we were camping. We drove out several miles, and we get into this area where there was a dirt road. It was a hard, compact dirt road, and we had three groups, and we
Right.
set up roughly a mile apart down this road. And
Right.
the plan was we're going to get out there. We're going to sit quiet for about 30 minutes. And then the group furthest out is going to do a call. And then the next group will do a call, which was my group. And then the next group, which was your group.
Right.
And we ended up doing that. And from where I was sitting, it was hard to determine whether we were getting responses back or if it was another group making a call. I know the furthest group out said that they definitely heard some responses. We heard what we think probably was a response, but I can't say 100% sure because it could have been one of the other groups. But I think if I had to bet my life on it, I would say maybe a response, maybe not. But I think it probably was a response.
I think you guys got a response, because I think what we heard was too close to be the first group, and we knew it wasn't you.
Yeah, that's
So it
what I
was a
was
response to your call.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking. Because I know when we first set up, we sat on the tailgate of the truck, and off in the distance, from probably where the river was, because the river was off to our left. And then I heard some footsteps, or I heard some movement way
Mm-hmm.
off in the distance. And I asked the other guys, "Do you hear that?" And they said, "Yeah, we hear it." But it just got closer and closer. And as it got closer, it sounded like bipedal, slow, deliberate steps, as if something was trying to be quiet and kind of sneak in, maybe a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
And then man, if I had to guess, I would say maybe, cause you have the side of the road and then it goes into that ditch and then it comes up the other
Right.
side. And I would say probably 10 yards off the other side of that ditch, it just stopped.
Yep. And that's
And
about
then,
where Logan heard it.
yeah, okay. And then that's when we got the call saying, come down here and meet us, start walking down the road and meet us. And that was because of what you saw. So go ahead and get into all of that for us.
So what makes it interesting is whenever we pulled up, we had 3 thermal cameras lose their batteries.
Mm-hmm.
My thermal went dead. Rachel's thermal had went dead, and Flat Rock's thermal had went dead.
Mm-hmm.
And we didn't know that at the time, other than, hey, mine is not working. So since mine wasn't working, Rachel let me use her Psionics, which was like a full spectrum camera. So she thought she had her thermal. She was looking through it. Then the battery died. She's like, well, she took pity on me, and I saw what I saw because Rachel took pity on me, and I appreciate that because it was fantastic. We saw the light between us. We could see a light, and we thought it was you guys, but it turned out we couldn't see your light because you guys were too far down the road. So Stacy had busted out his thermal. He was looking, and nothing showed up on the thermal camera, and nothing showed up on my IR camera that Logan was using. But in the full spectrum camera, I saw a full body apparition in the road. Started going close. I told him it's full body apparition, and Rachel's like, record it. I was like, oh, I went to hit record, and I hit the menu button. I messed it up, and I gave her I was like, here, you take it, you do it. I don't know what I'm doing. So I don't think she caught it on camera as much. She could see the light where it was, but you can't see the apparition.
Yeah.
But I saw it. Logan saw it. Rachel and Stacy saw it all through the Psionics.
So what was it? What'd you see?
What I saw was a native man. A full-size native man. He's about my height, maybe a little shorter. Long hair, shirtless, trousers with a cloth over his lap.
Wow.
And as we started walking toward it, Logan he's in front. He stops because he hears the footsteps.
Mm-hmm.
So he stops and he starts backing up a little bit, and Stacy was like, where are you going? And that's when Stacy looked up and he saw what we believe is a Sasquatch that crossed the road. Because when we got down there is whenever we found the tracks, the trail, you could see it come up from the bottom up onto the road and then cross the road.
Yeah.
And also, right above that spot, we didn't notice at first. I think it was Richard has actually called us back and was like, hey, y'all want to come look at this? It's pretty interesting.
Yeah.
We turned around and went back, and there was that that tree that was leaned across the road.
Yeah.
And it's crazy how far it was leaned across the road because it was about that big around. And
Mhm.
it was bent. It wasn't broken. It was just bent, nothing on top of it until you get to the other side. And the very top of it was snapped and wrapped around the other tree so it wouldn't snap back up. Made a perfect archway across the road.
Yeah, that was wild, man, because after we met y'all down there, saw the tracks and everything, and y'all turned around and we started heading back to the truck and y'all were heading back. We were walking and Richard was right in front of me and we saw it almost the exact same time because I was looking and I shined my light and before my light hit it, he said something to the effect of, look at this tree arch or something like that. And it was, man, it was incredible. It was just like, and we were sitting there trying to, even before he called y'all back, we were sitting there we were like, there's no way. There's
Right?
no way it's natural for it to fall, for it to be in that Y on the other side. And then, like you said, snapped and twisted and kind of woven so it would hold in place.
Mm-hmm.
Um, like there's just, in my mind, there's just no way that could be natural. And there's no animal out there that could do that. I mean,
No. Even if you got a bear to climb it that high to lean it over, it's not going to snap the top of it to weave it into another tree.
yeah, yeah. And I reached out to an arborist here locally
Mm-hmm.
and I wanted to get his take on it just to kind of see what he would have to say. I never heard back from him. I've got a couple other, I've got a couple other arborists um, that I might reach out to as well. The problem with that is they're probably gonna try to give you some kind of explanation for a
Mm-hmm.
natural cause, even if it doesn't make any sense,
Right.
because they don't want to attach their name to anything, that's gonna be Bigfoot related. You know what I mean? So,
Yep.
but it was wild, man. And what's crazy is we did not have any thermal out at the time. Right before y'all called, Richard was starting to dig it out, but we didn't have any thermal out. Um, and it's like, I'm kicking myself because I mean, we would have been able to see it as well. If we were looking at the right time, we would have been able to see it. Um, and
Mm-hmm.
we missed an opportunity, I guess. But yeah, man, that was wild. But that was a pretty cool expedition, man.
Cool. You
It was
still there?
really, yeah, I'm here.
Okay, I hear you now.
Okay. Yeah, it was a cool experience, man. I really enjoyed being out there. I look forward to doing it again. I look forward to hooking up with you guys again. And, you've got, you've got Papa Squatch Productions that you've got running now. What's that all about?
It's just right now. It's just me, Scotty, Dan. We're just trying to get out here. I don't know really if it's about getting our name out there. We're trying to just get in a position where we can do more research, really. So we have I have a few t-shirt designs I'm going to drop, as soon as I can get them put together where I can sell them. And just to fund our hobby of researching.
Yep.
That's really, and there's a couple things coming up. Hopefully we'll be able to be part of. So
Yeah.
it'd be good to get out there and do some more field research. That's all I want to do, really.
Cool. Cool, man. Yeah. And like I told you before, that's really what I'm in it for. I mean, I've gotten, cause I'm on TikTok and stuff too. And on TikTok,
Mm-hmm.
I've got like 700 and something followers. But at the end of the day, I'm kind of like you. It's like the reason why I started doing this podcast and stuff and kind of getting out on social media is kind of to have a place to document stuff that I'm finding, make
Yeah.
contact with other people like yourself that's out here doing the same thing, and just try to get answers, man, mainly for myself, you know?
And that's another part I like is the networking part of it. You know, like you said, meeting other people who are doing the same thing we're doing and trying to share the information. Cause there's some people who try to gatekeep and don't put out all the information they know.
Yeah.
And I'm not about that. If I find something, I'll tell you where I found it. So hopefully you can go find something too. I mean, if you can find it in the same location I found it, then that's validation. We're on Facebook, Papa Squatch Productions. We're on YouTube, Papa Squatch Productions. And I think Instagram is just Squatch Papa, maybe. So we have a TikTok, but there's only like one reel on it. I don't know what I'm doing on TikTok. Absolutely. Thank you very much for having me.
Yeah. You feel that? Static in the silence, something in the sound. Whispers in the dark when the sun goes down. Shadows got a story, but they don't speak loud. You gotta lean in close when the night rolls round. Cold wind, back road, nowhere to hide. Truce in the space between truth and lie. Welcome to the lowdown, don't make a sound where the lost get found and the strange comes out. If you're looking for answers, you won't find them here. Just a trail of clues and a little more fear. Welcome to the